Okay, I hope this is live now. This is like my first time live streaming with this software. So I started like 2 minutes early. Hopefully, you can all hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can. I don't think there's anyone here yet, but let me just yap for a little bit if you're watching the recording later or as the views start coming in. But I tried using my iPhone camera instead of my laptop webcam because the quality is better. Hopefully, you can see that. Yay! Okay, I see some people here. That's so weird because it keeps saying view count is 0 right now, so I don't know what's going on. But thank you so much for being here a few minutes early. I want to just say I put the finishing touches to this presentation to my slides like 5 seconds ago. So this is like peak ADHD procrastination, but I live for the thrill. I think there's like some psychology principle where it's like the amount of time that you have is like how long you stretch the task until. So if I have like an hour before the event, I'm making my slides in that hour, like putting the final touches in that hour. But if I had like a whole week, then I'm taking that entire week to do it. But yeah, I'm so glad seeing everyone here. I see some familiar names. Thank you for being here. I just want to see which country, maybe put in the chat, which country are you calling in from so I can guess your time zone. Okay, now let me change the screen to just my face. This is kind of weird because like my camera is here, but my screen is here. And then the chat is here. Oh, someone said, I'm so excited to learn something from you. Yay! I'm so excited for you to learn too. These slides are packed, so I'm really excited to get started. But let me try and guess your time zone first. I saw somebody earlier from the Philippines. That's like, isn't it 2 a.m. for you? Thank you so much for being here at a weird time. This is being recorded. It'll be up on my YouTube. So if you have to go to sleep, it's okay. Someone from Honduras. Oh, I don't know where that is. I want to guess it's 12 p.m. there. Maybe let me know if I'm right. Someone says Canada, India, Australia. Oh, India, I know it's 10:30 p.m. And Australia. Wait, isn't that like 5 a.m. in Australia? Thank you so much for being here in these weird times. Okay, Canada, I know like East Coast is 1 p.m. West Coast, where I am, I'm in Vancouver, Canada right now. It is 10 a.m. Okay, I think I'm gonna get started because there's a lot here and I only did a test run of this presentation like once, so bear with me here. Alright, can you see my screen? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I guessed the Honduras time zone right. It is 12 p.m. Wow, I didn't even know where that was. My instincts. Okay, thank you for sharing your time and country. Let me move ahead with the presentation now. This is a sneak peek for what you will be getting. This is part of my template that I will share at the end of this presentation. So again, I just want to say this is actually very well built out for the ADHD mind. It's got rewards, it's got like the procrastination deadline stuff, like how I mentioned earlier. I kind of procrastinated making this presentation until like, I just put finishing touches on it like 5 seconds ago. So this is all built into the system. So it can work for you. If you get easily bored, distracted, if you struggle with consistency, it's gonna work for you. But before we get started, I want you to type yay in the chat anytime you learn something new or something cool, because I think being active like that helps you really consolidate what you're learning today, and it'll help you, it'll help other viewers kind of pay more attention to what might be very insightful. So it's not just me yapping at you, it's gonna be you participating. Like this is gonna be a very interactive session. I'm gonna make you start typing your goals and stuff in the chat today. Okay, let me just zoom in on the chat screen so I don't miss any questions. Awesome. So, why set goals? I want to share an example to really drive home the point and like kind of like help you get motivated to be consistent. So, for this presentation, I dug up my goals from 2022. This is like 2 years ago. Okay, that's when I started implementing all these systems and I feel like my life completely changed. So I wrote under the money section, I was gonna start my Instagram account, like my content business, my own business, and I was gonna post on Friday, September 30th, 2022. But because I just wrote this goal and didn't really have a whole system, I did not do that because I didn't turn it into a system. So I didn't have my whole system set up at this point. It's been like 2 years of experimenting with this. So when I did create a system where I took consistent daily action, my real views went up. I got a bunch of followers. I think I'm at like 70K Instagram followers now. I got monetized on YouTube. So thank you so much for being here and supporting my channel. This was so exciting. I remember like the first $8 I made after monetizing, I was like screaming around in my room. And now I checked yesterday and it was like 200. So I was shook. And I actually ended up making in one day what I used to make in an entire month at my previous job. So that was just mind blowing to me. This was with the first launch of my course, which I can talk about later. But yeah, like I didn't think that this was possible. So once I implemented these systems, I really broke through a bunch of my limiting beliefs. And hopefully this will motivate you and inspire you as well. Okay, now let's get into reverse engineering your goals. Sorry, I just saw somebody's comment and it says, born to yippee, forced to yay. That's so funny. I look forward to seeing all your yays or yippies or like whatever you want to type in the chat whenever you learn something new. Anyway, reverse engineering your goals. We are gonna make it fun today because I can't stick with boring systems. Like I hate boring admin work. I need the ADHD fun energy. Like it needs to be stimulating and engaging. Otherwise, I straight up won't do it. And that's the new system and template that I have for you today. So we're gonna walk through it. I made it into like a choose your own adventure thing because when you think about your life, that's kind of what it is. I always loved that, like making things into a game. So it's like you can choose your next steps and all the possibilities are endless. And if you look at your life that way, it makes it a lot more fun. So the simple overview of the system, it's literally just 3 steps. It's very simple. I don't know if it's easy. I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible for you, but it is simple, so don't get overwhelmed. Number 1 is you want to pick a goal category. I'll explain what categories are later, but that's the first step. Step number 2 is turning it into a very simple habit, and it has to be simple. I'll walk through some examples with you later. And number 3 is the goal state. This is going to be your reward, and I really want to focus on the intrinsic motivation here, but we'll get to that. I'll explain it all later. Okay, so goal categories. Wow, okay, so some people in the chat are like, this is my first time seeing you live. I'm so excited. Okay. Yeah, and thank you all for being here live and tuning in. I love the energy in the chat here. Like there's so many chat messages I can't even keep up, so I really appreciate you being here. I do see a question. Where are all of these trackers and system? So what we're going to do today is you are going to straight up type it in the chat because I do have a Notion template. You can have it on Notion, but this is really more about like the mindset and the process. You can do it on pen and paper because some people prefer writing things down in a notebook instead of doing a digital notebook like Notion. So today, during this event in the next hour, we're gonna write it in the chat together so you can be publicly held accountable and be more motivated to actually work on your goals. But these systems can work anywhere. Like you can take out a journal and write it. All you have to do is remember these 3 steps. I really try to break it down as simple as possible because we're getting really close to the new year and like implementing a whole new system is going to be too complicated. So hopefully that answered your question, but the goal category. So these are the categories that I've split it up into: growth, career and finance, creativity, health, and social. Your goal categories could be different, but just for the purpose of this next hour that we have, let's do these 5 categories. So growth categories is like therapy, learning, personal development. It's like you've been in your me era, just like focusing on yourself. And career / school and finance is like your work, side hustles, investing, budgeting, anything related to money stuff. Then there's creativity, which is your hobbies, so like crochet, art, DIY, woodworking, and I put travel here because I find it fun and I think it's like a hobby, even though it's a really expensive hobby. But you can make travel its own category if you want because it's also related to finances. And health, I realized that my health is more like physical health because that actually impacts my mental health a lot. So when I get my sleep, diet, and exercise in order, it really helps my mental health. So like I just put health in general. My therapy and like communication, self-development learnings, I put under growth, and that's how I separated them. But if you want to put mental and physical health in one category, feel free to. You can like, it's your own life, you can make your own categories, but these are just what made sense for me. Okay, and lastly there's social, which is your friends, family, and relationships. So usually under this Notion page that I have, it's just like, date bucket list, info on my friends, like planning out their birthday presents, planning out parties, like murder mysteries, things like that. Now you want to pick one category to start, and you can call it your category era. So like your finance era, your growth era, your health era, and please put it in the chat and let me know which era you picked. So feel free to use my categories or pick your own. So growth, career and finance, creativity, health, or social. For me, I think it's gonna be career and finance because I really want to grow this business, this content business, and just by being here in this event today, you're helping me with that, so I really appreciate it. Okay, I see somebody in the chat is saying I'm picking social. I love that. Actually, in 2022, I believe, I was just really lonely because I didn't get invited to any Halloween parties and I was sad. So I picked social in the next year, and then I started hosting, like I was the friend that I wanted. So I started inviting people to events, I hosted parties, and then that Halloween, like 1 year later, I got so many party invites, but I couldn't go to any of them because I got sick, so I stayed home. But I was just so happy and I felt so loved. And then this year for my birthday, people got me a meme queen street sign. It's so wild. It's in my room right now. I'll show you. Can you see that? They got me the street sign. It was so funny. So that was the result of me focusing on social and focusing on my friendships. And the power of turning your goals into systems and habits. Okay, so somebody has a question, will this be posted later? Yes, since this is a YouTube live, it should be automatically recorded and put on my channel later. So don't worry if you have to go to sleep or if you miss anything, the recording will be sent. I'll be sure to send it via email as well. Okay, so a lot of people are picking career. I love that. Okay, there are some career examples I have later in the presentation. All right, let's move on. So now you want to turn this goal into a habit. So you need to really make it easy. So for me, if I picked creativity, I would be like, okay, let me practice piano at least 5 minutes a day. And the other day, like yesterday, I had a meeting and I was like, oh, I'm waiting for my meeting. I would have scrolled on my phone otherwise while waiting, but I'm like, I can take 5 minutes to practice piano. So I did. And now that's how I was able to stay consistent every single day. It could be also as simple as like stretching for 1 minute after waking up. Because I'm like, I don't want to force myself to have this goal of going to the gym every day. It's like too much. 0 to 100 way too quick. So I'm like, okay, why don't I stretch after waking up? So like whenever I wake up, having that time of day is really important. So when I wake up, I'm like, okay, let me stretch for a bit, and I just feel so much better. I feel more awake. Another example is like if you want to fix your sleep schedule and you picked health as the goal category, you can say that a habit could be in bed by 12 a.m. because like you can't really control how tired you are or like if you fall asleep, but if you're in bed by that time, you're way more likely to fall asleep at a good time. And if you want to start your own content business, it could be something like make one social media post a day. And that post doesn't even have to take you like an hour. It can just be whatever random video you have on your phone, and then you put text on screen and you just post that. Sometimes it even takes me just like 5 minutes to make a post. So now I want to challenge you to make an easy, simple habit that you can do every day. I like to say like 1 minute to do something, like practice piano for 5 minutes, stretch for 1 minute. It has to be really easy so that barrier to entry to getting started is less, and then you're more motivated to do it. So post that in the chat. If you're torn between all the different categories and goals, maybe just pick one for the purpose of sharing it today. Um, you have to think like it's not one or the other. If you pick one now, you can always focus on the other one later. So it's like a not now but later thing, and hopefully that'll make it easier to pick one. So yeah, just put down your easy habit related to your goal today, and I'll shout some out in the chat. So again, here are the examples. It really helps if you have like a time of day attached as well. So like when I practice piano, it's usually in the evening right before bed because it's like my relaxed time. Okay, so somebody said proactively contact one friend per day. I love that. Do one pull up a day. I love that because I feel like I can do one pull up, it's easy, but if I tried to force myself to do like 10 pull ups every day, I would just stop being consistent. Journal feelings 5 minutes a day. I like that. Maybe you can make it even easier by like saying, journal one sentence. Because sometimes I think the minutes, it's hard to know, but if you just think about, oh, I only need to write down one sentence, it's a lot easier. And then most of the time you'll exceed that target anyway. So when you set something really easy and then you're constantly exceeding expectations, then you just feel good and that momentum and good energy carries you forward. Whereas if you're like, let me do 2 hours of piano practice daily, you're gonna feel discouraged if you don't hit those goals. So really try and make it as simple as easy as possible. Actually, usually when I'm like, let me practice piano for 5 minutes, it was so fun that I end up practicing for like 2 or 3 hours, and that messed up my sleep schedule, but it's okay because I reflected and I learned from that. But yeah. Okay, somebody says I need a career example. So it could be something like write down one win or learning that you had in your job every day. Because if you work, well, maybe not every day, but like every work day. So if you are looking for a promotion or salary bump at work, then maybe what you can do is write down one accomplishment, and then when you meet up with your manager, you have that entire week's worth of accomplishment. And then that really makes you kind of be like, okay, what am I looking to accomplish today? So then you start planning out your days to be very achievement oriented and results oriented so you get things done. Hopefully that helps. Okay, I love all of these habits. Oh, I love the running one. I'm gonna start marathon training soon, and I think I didn't even take my own advice and I got too ambitious. I was like, I'm gonna start running 6 times a week, but that's not gonna that's not happening, let's be real here. But we'll see. Okay, thanks for sharing all of your easy habits. Oh, I love the one where it says 10 words in Cantonese. That seems very easy to do. Did you know that you can talk with ChatGPT now and then it helps you practice? And the accent is scarily accurate. So maybe you can try that. All right. So the next step here is to create your reward. And I want to focus on intrinsic motivation here instead of extrinsic. And what that means is instead of being like, oh, I'm going to get money if I do this, I feel like that's not really sustainable, or it's not going to help you stay consistent long term. What you need is intrinsic, which is like you really want to do this. Like you would do it even if just because you enjoy it, not because you're getting some external reward for it. So the deadline for this reward is 7 days from now. If you want to set this habit for 7 days, like let's say you say, I want to, apply for this many jobs, like apply for one job a day, which I would even break that down more into like look at one job posting, like, because if you just look, it seems very easy to do. You don't feel like you have to dedicate hours to it. So if it's like, I'm gonna look for one job posting and find one job posting every single day for 7 days, you have that deadline. And I feel like when you have a deadline, you're like, let me work towards it now, because if you don't have a deadline, like let's say the deadline for this goal is next year, you're just gonna procrastinate to the end of the year. So really have a deadline, let's say 7 days from now or 30 days from now. So my whole piano era, that was for 30 days. So I was like, in 30 days, I'm gonna learn how to play this song that I like. And the intrinsic motivation there, the reward was being able to play that song. So that was my example. I really wanted to play the song because I loved it, and that made me stay consistent for 30 days on top of the super easy 5 minutes practice a day that helps me stay consistent. So I see another comment here. that says, I try to pair things that are fun rewards with boring, like watching a show and folding laundry. I do that as well. I have a whole theory about energy stuff where I have a template where it's like the time and energy audit, where the if you constantly do chores that drain your energy, you're gonna feel burnt out. But if you do stuff that give you energy that's fun, then you won't feel as burnt out. But then if you combine the drains energy stuff with gives energy stuff, so like if you listen to a podcast or watch a show while doing laundry, then it kind of cancels out and it becomes neutral. So then you won't feel as burnt out. It's a whole thing. I explain it more in other YouTube videos, but I love that example there. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, so back to the rewards. So the piano example I gave, the reward here is knowing how to play a song. And the stretching example I gave, the reward is maybe feeling more flexible and like being able to touch your toes. And going to bed at 12 a.m., the reward there is feeling energized when waking up. And you really want to visualize this end goal, this goal state that you have, the transformation that you'll feel. Because when we know that it's going to feel good, we become more motivated to do it. And then if you picked like posting on your content side hustle account every single day, at the end of these 7 days or the end of this 30-day challenge you set for yourself, you are going to have this many posts on your profile. And just like imagine how accomplished and how good you'll feel. So I would love to see what your reward would be if you stay consistent with this habit that you just posted for yourself for like 7 days or for like 30 days. So if you can just put that in the chat, come up with your own reward that gets you very excited, that you know will make you feel good, and put it in the chat to make it real. I know it sounds like super woo-woo manifestation vibes, but honestly, there's a lot of theories about like mindfulness and like it's based in psychology. I studied psychology in school, so like whenever I see these things, I'm like, hey, this is just like what I learned in class. There's a lot of studies on this. So let me know in the chat what your reward for yourself is gonna be. Okay, I want to wake up feeling energized a week from now when I start school. I love that. I love waking up with energy. But actually, ever since I started tracking my time 24/7, I realized that I have the most energy when I wake up after 7 hours of sleep. And 9 hours of sleep is actually too much for me. I always feel tired after that. So that was an interesting observation that I would not have noticed if I didn't track my time. Okay. Another reward here in the chat is have a small conversation with my boyfriend in his native language. That's so cute. I'm also learning Vietnamese for my boyfriend. Another person says reward is having a more fulfilling job. I love that. Portfolio of stunning creative projects. Great people I come across at work. Be the confident girly that I always dreamed of. I love that for you. What you should do actually is start a wins document. You can have like a document on Notion or wherever you have your documents, or a piece of paper, and every time you have something that you're proud of, put it in that document. It builds your confidence so much. Because there's this student in my course, and she was like, it was last cohort, so she was like, oh, today I didn't blow up at this guy who was being super rude to me at the supermarket, and I put that in my wins document. So it can be something as simple as that. And then after actively putting stuff in the wins document and reading through it when you need that energy boost and that motivation, that student was like, I feel so confident right now. Like, I feel like I'm able to do anything. So instead of feeling burnt out, you have that wins document and you suddenly feel motivated to take action. So I highly recommend that wins document. Okay, so now I have an extra tip for you. If you really want to like add on the rewards and make it even more compelling to do this habit of yours, check off a box daily. So this is part of the template that I'll share with you later, but you can totally just make it on pen and paper on your own. So if you have all your habits there and you look at this page every day, again, it can be on pen and paper and you just have it on your wall or something, then you're more likely to complete it. So especially if you start seeing the checkboxes stacking up, and if you see an empty checkbox, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to finish this by the end of the day today. So when you check it off, it just feels so satisfying. I highly recommend doing this. Somebody asks, do you recommend merging a gratitude journal and a wins document or keep them separate? I usually keep mine separate because the wins document is more like a bragging doc for myself, and my gratitude is more like for others and like for the environment around me. And actually, I noticed that when I have my gratitude and I list at least 5 things I'm grateful for every day, I'm just a lot happier. Because I had a pause where I didn't do that, and I was like, why does life kind of suck now? But I went back to it and I was like, okay, now I feel more motivated and energized. Okay, the next thing is, again, there is a free template like this choose your own adventure system. You do have to duplicate it on Notion, but again, now that you know the system, you can do it on pen and paper or on whatever document you're comfortable with. It's just on Notion, you have to duplicate it, and when you click on the buttons, that's when you start using the template. So to the buttons to work, you need to duplicate the template, but I'll share the link after I share some mistakes to avoid, because I don't want you to start using this template right away and then you're gonna be like, why doesn't this work? And that's because you need to avoid these mistakes. The first thing that I already saw some of you struggle with is picking more than one goal, because a lot of people are like, I want to focus on my growth, but I also want to have hobbies and I want to hang out with friends and like focus on my career. Like there's a lot going on and that's okay. But I think for the purposes of setting up a habit, you should really just focus on that one goal for at least 7 days. Maybe after the 7 days or after a month or 3 months, you can change things up, but it's important to focus because then you can get really good at it and it's just so much easier. Like you stop feeling overwhelmed because you have so many things to do. And one student in my course, she actually mentioned that you have to look at it more holistically, because like let's say your focus was on fixing your sleep under physical health, and you have to realize that fixing your sleep kind of helps all the other areas. Like it helps with your mental health, because like let's say you wake up earlier in the morning and suddenly you have more time to work on your career, or you have more energy to hang out with friends. So these are all interconnected, and by keeping that in mind, I think it's a lot easier to pick one goal. And an analogy to really drive this point home is that when I learned how to juggle from a circus, long story, but they said you always need to start with one ball. Because I tried to juggle with 3 balls immediately and then they kept falling down and I got so frustrated. But they're like, no, you need to actually learn how to throw the one ball correctly first and how to catch it properly before you can even start with 2 balls or 3. So it's the same thing with life. I feel like you really need to just focus on getting that one habit down before you start adding on other stuff. So, yeah, somebody asked, are you referring to the app Notion or Motion? It is the app Notion, the note-taking app. Okay. Well, the circus story isn't even that. Like, it was just I went on exchange in Quebec, in Canada, to learn French, and then for some reason they made us do all these random activities. Like, I learned embroidering, I learned circus stuff, but it was all in French. So I was there like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna watch what they do because my French is not that great. So that was an interesting experience. Okay, so somebody asked, would it be okay to have multiple goals if we use the TTS system? Then there would only be one goal item per day. Um, I think I would still focus, like if it was just me, I would still focus on one goal. The TTO is more for like the tasks that you have to do and all the projects that you have, but the goal is more like the blank era. So like for example, if you're in your finance era, that's like your top priority, but like the tasks day to day might change, if that makes sense. So I would really just examine why you want to have multiple goals a day, and maybe it's been successful for you in the past, but yeah, I just want to be careful about not overwhelming yourself. What you can do is maybe focus on one goal, see how you feel. If you feel like you have enough energy to handle more stuff, then you can. But I really just suggest picking one because recently, like yesterday, I was kind of going through it because I was trying to prepare for this event. Had a lot of other things going on. I want to make a new offer for people who want to be content creators and like teaching them business and content creation consistency and stuff. And I had like a bunch of birthday parties and other events, and I was just so overwhelmed. So I was like, I'm telling people to stick to one goal, and I can't even do that myself. I felt like such a hypocrite. So that's why I'm like, you need to just focus on the one thing because you might get burnt out otherwise. But if you, after you get that one goal down and you're like, I'm very confident on it, I'm used to this habit now, then maybe you can add on to that. But it's just maybe at the beginning, try one. Yeah, so somebody's saying, I think multiple goals with different priority levels and flexibility is workable as long as you always prioritize that first goal. I think that's a good way to think about it. Alright. Ooh, okay. I see some of my previous students from my course in the chat as well. I don't know if there's anyone from the current cohort, but there are some from previous cohorts. Thank you all for being here, by the way. Okay, the next thing is perfectionism. So I see this a lot. Actually, a lot of people think they have a procrastination problem when the problem is actually perfectionism. Because if you ask yourself why a bunch of times, then you find out it's actually because you want everything to be perfect. You think it's gonna take like 2 hours to do something because you have to like be very detail oriented and take 2 hours to make sure everything is great. So since you never have those 2 hours of spare time, you just don't do it. So it's that perfectionism that's kind of holding you back. But I think you just have to remember that consistency happens in months and years and not days. So let's say, for example, you want to start your own content creation business and you're like, I'm going to post a video every single day. And you don't post for like a week because it was the holidays or you went traveling. And you're like, dang, I'm not consistent anymore. I suck. I gave up on this. And then you just stop doing it. But then at the end of the year, you're gonna be like, oh, why didn't I just go back to posting after that 1 week off? Like, it's okay to take breaks. You just have to go back into it. So if you look at it the whole year, 1 week of like missing content is not gonna matter in that long term. You always need to think long term because that's what matters with consistency. Like, it's okay if you miss a day or two. Like in my course, I'm like, it's fine. There's buffer room. You can like, what's important is like getting back to it. So um, the next mistake people often make is not measuring progress. So this is because a lot of us, I think we set our goals and then we do them and then we don't really look back on what we learned. So like for example, that when I was practicing piano for like 3 hours, I messed up my sleep schedule because I was playing until like 1 or 2 a.m. It was really bad, but because I reflected on it and I measured my progress, I'm like, okay, so my piano goal is really important to me, but it's messing up my sleep. How can I make this not as conflicting? So because I looked on my failures and reflected on it, I was able to improve. So for me, that looked like I just need to start practicing piano earlier. Like I can't keep practicing so late at night. So if I start earlier, I can still practice for 2 hours, but then I'd still go to bed at a reasonable time. So make sure to reflect on your habits and goals regularly. And that's why I set that 7 day deadline, because after that 7 days of doing this habit consistently, then you can look at how you're doing. Like if you failed a day or two, not really failed, because I feel like failure is still like learning, then you can examine what happened and how you can learn from it so it doesn't happen again. So this is a template for my course where it's like you just brain dump the stuff that you learned, whether you succeeded or failed at your goals, and how you can improve for next time, and the goals that you met and deprioritize. I didn't put fail because I feel like deprioritize makes more sense. Like you stop doing it, and then what was good and what could be improved. And actually, I did this for myself, and then in my learnings for next time. So like in 2023 at the end of the year, I reflected on my learnings from the goals that I didn't really like, I deprioritized, and I made a list of action items immediately to implement these learnings. And I went back and looked at it and I was like, wow, I actually did all of these. And that's why in 2024 I hit almost all my goals. Yes, so exactly. I am saying that we should measure progress, but if you remember from the rewards here, this is kind of like a measure of the progress. Like if you have those check marks done, then you know that you've made progress. But then if you like, let's say you have these check marks, but then you feel like you didn't make progress, you need to reflect on why that is. Like maybe it's like you need to change your goal, or maybe there's like something missing, you know? But that only comes with reflection and not just like mindlessly doing this indefinitely. You have to reflect on whether this is or isn't working and what changes you can make to learn from after like 7 days or 30 days or however long you want your own goal habit challenge to be. Ooh, okay. So Eric says, for those with fitness as a goal, the app Heavy tracks all your workouts automatically. I know you got that for my course, and thank you for reminding me about that app because I need to get back to my fitness goals as well. Okay, so now the next steps. Um, I would like to ask if it's okay to share some more details about my course because I get so excited talking about it. I feel like it can help so many people, but it does feel a little bit salesy. I'll try to make it not salesy because I really believe it can help you if you struggle with your goals. But just let me know in the chat if it's okay to share because I have so many cool things about the course to show you. Okay. Ooh, we have somebody else in the chat saying, I love heavy. I feel like you also got that app recommendation from me. Like these, um, I feel like I'm always recommending. I got so many people onto this app. I feel like they need to give me affiliate. Do I reflect on each day in the habit? So wait, let me go back first. So on the reflection, I would say you would just reflect at the end of the week, maybe at the end of every week. I'll talk more about it in the course because I have like a whole like daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly reflection system where you can reflect on like everything in your life and then it kind of builds on each other. And a lot of people think that system is pretty cool. But yes, thank you for letting me share. This is so exciting. So this is a 30-day course. So it's like a 30-day challenge. By the end of these 30 days, you're going to get clarity on your goals and everything. And it's so cute because there are points. So maybe the current students can attest to this, but like so many people told me that when you check off the action items, you like hear this cute sound and it like makes the dopamine, I don't know, like it just feels rewarding. So every day you're like checking off these key points and then you kind of like start looking forward to doing the work in the course. Like I hate courses where it's just videos you go through on your own time. So I'm like, no, this is gonna be a fun course. And there's also a leaderboard, so you can kind of have a little friendly competition with the other students just to see your name here on the leaderboard. There's also a very supportive community. I see some previous active members of the community from the last cohorts of the course here. So thank you so much for still being active and for being here to support me. I really appreciate it. I have like a bunch of testimonials. It was kind of a struggle because there were so many really nice community posts and all the feedback forms that I got. It was just so heartwarming. There's also all the templates that I mentioned. There's a lot of them in the course, and I'm always improving on them because every cohort people give me feedback and I just work on them. Ooh, I forgot to link the course in the chat. Let me do that first. There. There's more details if you want. And of course, the best students ever. Some of them are here today, right now, so I really appreciate it. There's like all these feedback forms and community posts. Like people say that they look forward to doing it every day, and it's okay if you fall behind for a day or two as well, because it was the holidays. Because it's really about consistency over the long term. And somebody also said that the course is life changing, which is why I'm saving all of these and putting them in my wins document because I used to be so scared about selling the course. I'm like, oh, I feel like, a sleazy salesman. But I was reading all this feedback and I'm like, no, I know that this course can be life changing for people. I know it can help so many people get their lives together. So now I'm not as ashamed about promoting something that I created that I'm proud of. Now, the investment. So you have to look at it in terms of the time that you put into this and also the time that you have in your life. Because in an activity in this course, I do this thing called your life in weeks. And when you put your age there, it's kind of shocking to see like this many weeks have already been spent and you have this many other weeks. And it's like, what are you going to do to make those weeks count? Because life is not really going to wait for you. Time is something that you can never get back. Like, I remember that I wrote somewhere in a short story for my English class. I was like, I wonder if my grandma is proud of this life that she's led. I'm indifferent to this life I followed because I felt like I was just living a life where, you're just going through the motions. People are expecting things of me and I just do them. I never stopped to think like, is this really the life that I want? If my life was like a choose your own adventure game, is this really the path I would have chosen for myself? So once I realized that, I was like, you know what, let me make the most of the rest of my time here and do what I want to do what resonates with me. So I figured out what my life North Star metric, which is like my life purpose, which is to positively impact more people. And that this course is a way for me to do that. And so basically, I really want you to think about, making the most use of your time. And that being said, the course is $299 USD, which works out to be around $10 a day because it's like a 30-day course. But I do have pricing parity available because I saw all the countries earlier in this event. Some people are from the Philippines, someone from Brazil, Honduras. So let me know and just send me an email if $299 USD is too much for you. And there's also payment plans available if that's easier, and I'll get back to you. And I also have a Costco style refund policy. Like sometimes I get emails and people are like, I don't have time for this course anymore. Like I don't have time for it later either. So please, can I have a refund? And I just give it to them, no questions asked. Because I don't know, like I don't know why people don't do this. It just makes sense to me. So that's all about the course. I will send the link here in the chat. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Let me go back through the chat because there is a lot. If anyone's skeptical about the course, I was too initially, but it's so worth it. Oh my gosh, thank you, Eric. Your community posts, I kind of miss them because they were so funny. I need to go back and read some of them. They were truly hilarious. Okay, then the other thing that I want to mention is that some people, they actually were burnt out and they're like, I don't know if I can handle a course on top of this because they have so much going on. But there was one person who emailed me and she said that she only did week one. Like week one was like the best week for most people. Like in all the feedback forums, everyone was like, week one is the best. She only did that 1 week and she was like, I already see the positive changes that it has made in my life. And I think there was some other person who she was like, I have life direction now. I found passion for my career and goals again. Like I finally know and have clarity with what I want to do in this life. And I was like, oh, it's so touching. And then just the fact that there's so many students here like supporting and like putting stuff in the chat saying like it's so worth it. I'm like, oh, my heart is so full right now. It's really helping me with my life North Star metric of positively impacting more people. And just by being here and like watching this live stream, you are all helping me with that goal too. So I really feel like I'm living my dream life right now because of you guys. So yeah, I didn't expect it to be so sappy, but there it is. So that's the course, and now the promised freebies. So this is the choose your own adventure. Let me put it in the chat here. This is a Notion template that you are going to have to duplicate for the buttons to work. And that this system is just what we've been going over the entire time today. And the next thing is a bonus surprise. I made this goals bingo. Let me put that in the chat too. Because if you are more visual, then you can just start putting all your goals for the entire year in this bingo, and then you can cross them off throughout the year. And then the reward at the end is a completed bingo board. So I thought that was a really cool idea. I saw it on Instagram from this account called Self Experimenting. So I thought their idea was really cool. So you can find those freebies in the chat there. But I do want to leave you with a quote. Wait, let me change to my face for this one. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. So I thought I came up with this quote, but when I Googled it, it turned out it was from Atomic Habits, I think, by James Clear, which is a book I still need to read. But it really shows like you are who you are your thoughts, and your thoughts become your actions. So if you're constantly like, I'm lazy, I'm not ambitious, like I'm a failure, I can't do this, I can't stay consistent, that's going to come through to your actions. And what the course kind of helps you with is breaking down those limiting beliefs and making you ask yourself, like, why do you believe those things? Like, what is the root issue here? And then you start addressing that root problem, and then that kind of helps you take action. So in like the wins document and everything, to like build your confidence, that's supposed to help you build this life that you can be proud of living. Because when you think kind things about yourself and you're okay with failure because that's how you learn, and you take these minimum viable actions like the 5 minutes a day piano, making things super easy for you, you just build that confidence. And as you build confidence, you stop thinking like, I'm a failure, I can't do this, I'm not consistent, like I have ADHD and I get distracted all the time. That's okay, like you can work with that stuff. So you have to be like very solutions oriented. And then once you start believing that you can be consistent because these habits are so easy for you to do now, then you build onto that, and then you start taking more action and start living more towards your goals. So just a reminder, every action you take today is a vote for who you want to become in the future. So let me just go through the chat to make sure I don't miss anything. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I will take some questions in the chat again. Feel free to type stuff in the chat and I'll answer it, or you can just email me at vegantechnomad@gmail.com and I will do my best to respond. Yay! I love all the energy here. But I did not expect the presentation to go so fast because we're like 20 minutes early. Actually, it's so funny because somebody told me that they thought I sped up my videos because I guess I talk naturally at like 2 times speed. And then somebody else told me that they think my video editing style is very ADHD vibe because the cuts are just so quick. But for me, I'm like, if I'm watching a video and people take too long to say something, I'm not gonna watch it anymore. So it has to be fast. But if they miss something, they can always rewatch the video. So yeah, it's just my brain. Yay! Somebody says, thank you, Jennifer, and fellow audience members. I love that. Okay, thank you all so much for being here. Again, I'm always available via email if you have questions. But now I'm gonna figure out how to end the stream. Oh, okay, somebody has a question. What's your main 2025 goal? It's to scale my business. Actually, I'm kind of scared to talk about it, but let me just put it out there for accountability since you all shared your goals and habits with me for accountability. This is like the first time I'm saying it out loud, but I want to scale my content business to 1 million annual recurring revenue. I don't know if I can do it. I'm kind of scared, but we will see if that happens because that's a really big number that I'm scared by. But if I'm not scared by my goals, then I feel like I'm not pushing myself enough and being ambitious enough. So there it is. Hopefully I can do it. Thank you for being here and helping me with that goal because I feel like with 1 million annual recurring revenue, I can just do so much more to help more people. Like, hire more people. I like to pay people like above average if I can, like above market rates. And then that'll just help me impact more people and like show these systems to them and help them achieve their goals too. Okay, somebody says, how much can you bench press? Oh no, it's really bad. I always get roasted about that, so I want to just say I can bench press the bar and leave it at that. Okay, so somebody says, I can't figure out how to edit the Canva template. Okay, you have to duplicate it and then like click and drag the images into the document. But if you can't figure it out, just email me and I'll figure out how to help you later. Okay. So, what was the other? How do you discern when it's productive versus when you reach the point of diminishing returns? Okay, I love this question because sometimes I'm like, this goal isn't even resonating with me anymore. Let's change things. So, I think when you have that visualization of that end state or like that transformation you want, remember how we said, like, if your goal was to post content every day and then the reward for yourself is like you have this feed of posted content, if you no longer resonate with that end goal or visualization or you feel like you've reached it, then it's time to retire that habit or goal and have a new one. So for me, for my content business, I kind of stopped posting daily after I reached a certain number of followers because then I wanted to focus on converting those followers into like my paid products, so then I have money to invest more into my content and then make more free content to help more people. So it really is like what resonates with you, and you just kind of use the same systems to create a new goal. What would be your biggest thing you could do with $1 million? I think the biggest thing would just be to scale and have more programs that help more people. Because I have such imposter syndrome. Sometimes I was like, what I have to say is not like, it feels so obvious to me. I feel like it's not worth sharing. But when I talk to my friends, they're like, oh my God, you just changed my whole perspective on business and life and content. And I'm like, you know what? More people should know this stuff. And like, I can't reach more people unless I have time to like create content and I have time and money to like put in paid ads and stuff. So it's more like after your basic needs, like all my bills are paid, then I can focus my energy more on like making content and reaching more people. And somebody asked, what thoughts on your goal changing mid-year? How do you make that shift? This happened multiple times this year. I changed from like, or even last year, I changed from health goal to like marathon training to friends to travel. And I think it's easy to make the shift. It's like the end of your health era and then you're entering the next era. Like you can make that change anytime. That's why you don't have to pick one goal for the year. You can change things up. because like I have to, otherwise I get bored after like 3 months. So I wouldn't say that it's hard. Um, just understand that sometimes you make your own rules. Like it's your own life. Why are you stopping yourself from doing stuff because you're like it's not right, right? Hopefully that answered that question. And also, thank you for staying up for this. I think it's like 3 a.m. in your time zone now. Okay, the next question is how old are you? I'm 25. I want to retire and like do my own thing by 30. So I was looking at my retirement calculations and it was pain. But it's okay. I have ambitious goals and I will do my best to lift you all up with me as well. Because I love creating communities. Like the course community is really nice. I have a few Discord communities where I try my best to support people who want to work on their content business and start posting regularly. So it's really fun for me. Yeah. Oh, I love the words of encouragement. I think I'm gonna end it here on this note then. Thank you so much for being here and watching. I really appreciate all the kind words and for you to give me a chance to teach this to you. I will never take it for granted and I really appreciate your time. Hopefully this gives you a lot of energy and motivation to work towards your goals for 2025. Yay. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.